What's going on, Jerome's? So the Wolves right now have a 40-point first quarter lead, and I'm going to assume that they didn't blow it. So diving on in this beautiful Friday, birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. So first up, our guy Eli Corbett certainly was on one. Also, our guy Eli's doing some Super Bowl graphics. It's fantastic, man. But Drake May, the gunslinger from North Carolina, come on and raise up. I certainly do believe in Drake May, where I feel like I get a nice warm feeling when I watch Drake May, man. So like the good parts of Josh Allen with mobility and also the ability to make plays on the move, as well as just the Justin Herbert assassin mentality. And I think Drake May is the guy, man. I really do. Now, do I think that he will get out of the top 2 or 3 picks? Probably not. So the Vikings may have to do a little bit of moving on up to the east side. Finally got a piece of the pie, as well as a little bit of puck luck. Maybe he's not everyone else's cup of tea, and who knows, man. But also, I mean, just look at that jawline. I feel like I've seen that before. Like, are we certain that 21 years ago Kevin O'Connell didn't have some DNA taken and he was cloned? Like some secret government project, man. How do we not know? Where is this just Logan all over again? That's what I want to know, man. They look pretty similar. I mean, Drake May could be Bud Grant's grandson, since Kevin O'Connell is Bud Grant 2.0. That's all, man. That's all. But so this is the time of 17,000 mocks, and I feel like every single mock draft has to be a little bit different, and also the more outlandish take that you have on the mock draft, the more eyeballs it gets, good, bad, or otherwise. Any attention is good attention. So over at Sharp Football, Ryan McChrystal did up this mock draft where the unlikely did happen. So Drake May somehow fell to the Vikings at 11. Now, I wonder what it would take. Like Drake May would have to choke out a sitting senator or something like that, or I don't know. Well, gas mask bong won't do it anymore nowadays. So I don't know, man. But Williams 1, Jaden Daniels 2 to Washington. I mean, Magic Johnson wants Showtime. Jaden Daniels certainly is Showtime, man. He would be a lot of fun. Harrison Jr. going to the Patriots, although I feel like Drake May would be a perfect fit there. The neighbors, Joe Walt, Odunze. I don't see the Giants or the Falcons passing on Drake May, and there's no trades in this mocks, but I could see the Broncos and or the Raiders potentially moving on up to go get him. Let's see any other shockers. So Bowers to Seattle, that's pretty damn good. I like that one a lot. Let's see, Turner goes, JPJ goes there. Cooper DeJean going to the Eagles. Quinny Mitchell going to the Texans. Oh, I like that. So the Texans, they got Stingley and now Quinny Mitchell. That's pretty damn good. JJ McCarthy, Dynamite going to the Bucks. And that's it for quarterbacks in the first round. So 4 QBs. I mean, the Vikings get the. I would take it for sure. I just don't see it happening. And speaking of the aforementioned J.J. McCarthy, so I mean, the hype and hyperbole around J.J. McCarthy is starting to get up there, man. So Purple Persuasion put this together. ESPN's NFL draft scout Matt Miller, in a conversation with Matt Barry, said, quote, "I've talked to so many scouts, one in particular who said J.J. McCarthy would be Joe Burrow on a team that threw the ball." He went on. The fit is going to matter, but I think he's going to put on a show if he throws at the NFL Combine. And that's my worry, too, where I think right now, so I do believe the reports and the smoke that the NFL sees J.J. McCarthy differently than the public does. Where, I mean, the public looks at the box scores, they look at the 18 passing attempts. The NFL looks at traits. And J.J. McCarthy has traits in spades. And I think that him throwing at the Combine, I think that it could be a spot where, a lot like Anthony Richardson throwing at the Combine last year, C.J. Stroud throwing at the Combine, just absolutely putting on a dynamite show. And I think that J.J. McCarthy is just going to sling it. Yeah, I think McCarthy's going to end up being a top 10 pick. So the Vikings, if they want him, probably going to have to move a little bit. So depending on what happens with Kirk Cousins, having other viable options is important, but the Seattle Seahawks are apparently going to roll with Gino Smith, so that's one option off the table, whether for the Vikings or for other teams with Kirk Cousins. Adam Schefter, go. Seahawks quarterback Gino Smith, who had $12.7 million in his contract that becomes fully guaranteed on Friday, was informed today that he will remain on the rooster through this week, allowing that money to trigger. Sources tell ESPN the $12.7 million now converts from injury guaranteed to fully guaranteed, assuring Smith will collect the money. Now, they could still trade him, sure, but all signs point to Seattle and new head coach Mike Macdonald running back with Geno Smith. So that's one destination, one potential destination for Kirk off the table, as well as one free agent option, free agent suitor off the table as well, and another free agent option. So we're going to do a video of potential cap casualties that the Vikings could bring aboard. And if the Vikings lose Kirk, you're getting a veteran bridge quarterback, I think it's fine. Although Mullins, well, if Kirk leaves, you're going to maneuver, find your quarterback in the future. And in all likelihood, you're probably going to have him start right away, even though he would benefit from sitting a little bit. But I would feel fine with Mullins, but I'm not going to break the bank. Like, I'm not spending more than $10 million for a bridge quarterback. Now, Taylor Heineke, the Carry On My Wayward Son, and the Cats and the Cradle and the Silver Spoon. So Heineke, I liked out of Old Dominion. He was always feisty and plucky, and he showed well in Washington. He was whatever in Atlanta. I mean, if you can bring in Taylor Heineke for like $4 million and have him with Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall and rookie TBD, I'm sort of in. I'm sort of okay with that, man. Speaking of the Falcons. So Bijan Robinson, a first-round pick running back, absolute stud monster from Texas. Hook 'em, baby. He was talking during Super Bowl week about who he wants to see as his quarterback. And they did a game all up on the TikTok of Sports Seriously of, hey, where do you think Kirk Cousins is going to play? And Bijan answered pretty honestly. This is from Vikes Central. Falcons running back Bijan Robinson was asked where he thought Kirk Cousins will end up this offseason. His response, he could come play for us, with a smile on his face, which I feel like the Falcons are going to start recruiting, and I think that Kirk would be absolutely dynamite with the weapons that the Falcons have. But I feel like a dark horse could be the Niners, where they have Brock Purdy on his rookie contract. I think that if Kirk was... Don't get me wrong, Purdy didn't play bad, but he definitely left some points on the board, and he wasn't in danger of winning the game. Let's put it that way. And I've said before, I feel like if the Vikings had Kirk instead of Jimmy G in the first Chiefs Super Bowl, they win that pretty easily. And I think that if they had Kirk, they would have won last Super Bowl, and I feel like Shanahan can't help himself. So we'll see. Speaking of who the quarterback is going to be, so Justin friggin' Jefferson last week during Super Bowl week. This is from Purple Persuasion. Give them a follow. They're really good at scraping and compiling all of these little quotes and nuggets and stuff. Doesn't matter who's throwing the ball to JJ. Quote, I still managed to get 1,000 yards by playing through 4 different quarterbacks as well. It doesn't really matter to me. Doesn't really matter too much who's throwing me that ball, as long as someone is throwing it to me. So, I mean, JJ sort of relaxed his stance, where initially it was like Kirko, but I feel like he understands the business is the business, and Kirk could leave, Kirk could be back, Kirk could be back on a significant deal, and who really knows what happens. And the Vikings could be moving on, whether it's a bridge quarterback or a rookie quarterback or a combination of the three. Either way, I feel like JJ is going to be good to go no matter who is throwing him the ball, because JJ is going to make that person better. Just happens, man. Something also happened. So Vikings OC Wes Phillips got popped for DWI a couple of weeks ago during the season. Kevin Seifert, ESPN, who's not Carl Gerbschman. Per court documents, Vikings OC Wes Phillips will plead guilty to an amended charge of careless driving stemming from his December 8th arrest. He was originally charged with 4th-degree DWI. Will pay $378 in fines plus 8 hours community work. Hearing scheduled for tomorrow. Now, TBD if Wes is going to face punishment either from the league or from the team. But either way, looks like Wes is going to be back as OC and the rubber stamp for Kevin O'Connell and the offense next season. Also, so I want to know who anointed the Kelceys as like the royalty. Like Jason Kelce's awesome. Travis, Donna, fantastic. Jason's up here, but they did a bracket of the best mascot name, and the Vikings won. So I mean, another win column for the Kelce. So there you go. I mean, you couldn't put Jason on the header. You just had to put Travis on the graphic. It's crazy, man. So it's been a bit of radio silence so far with Harrison Smith. Now, Harrison, at the end of the season, he was very open talking about he doesn't know what was up. And this is from January 7th after the end of the season. Al Calusi let it go. Viking safety Harrison Smith on his future, quote, "Whenever I retire, I'm not going to tell you. You'll figure it out. I'll say this. It's hard to have the ability to play and not have the desire to play. I'm not going to be ominous or anything. Right now, my shoulder hurts," end quote. And I feel like that's part of it too, where I don't see Harrison. I don't even see Harrison, putting out like a social media post. I think it's just gonna be like, yeah, I'm done, just deuces, fading in the ether. Now, with his contract, the Vikings can save $11 million and change if they cut him. I could see that. And then it comes down to, does Harrison want to play another season? Because with Zimmer in Dallas, like if he wants to play another year, I think that would be a perfect marriage down there. But it comes down to quality of life, and also how much money do you need, and also is it worth another season of putting your body through the ringer? And all of these players are going to have aches and pains their entire life, not to mention CTE stuff, which is a whole nother kettle of fish. But I mean, I feel like Harrison is a guy that's just going to say just like deuces. Just file that paperwork. I mean, Pelissero or Rap Sheet won't even get a heads up. They'll just have to see it on the transaction wire like everyone else. Yeah. So, yeah, that's why it's been radio silent. I mean, Harrison, I feel like Harrison is a guy with a very small circle, and, there's not going to be leaks in that. So there's not going to be like, oh, sources close to Harrison Smith say that he's leaning towards XYZ. Nah, that can happen, man. But if he's back on a pay cut, that's fantastic. I thought he played really solid last year for Flores. I think that he still has some ball left in him. But if this is it, big time respect. Harrison, all-time great. Should be a Hall of Famer, future Ring of Honor guy. Yeah, nothing but respect for Double Deuce. Also, now let's retire 22. Kraus, and now we got Harrison Smith. Also David Palmer for back in the day. There you go. But that's it. Friday Vikings News Dump. You guys are the best. Skull production value.